I'm Andrea Giles, and you're listening to the Heal from Infidelity podcast, episode number 174, Influence Through Self-Leadership. Hello, and welcome to the Heal from Infidelity podcast, where courageous women learn not only to heal from their spouse's betrayal, but to become the boldest, truest, most decisive, and confident versions of themselves ever. If you know there's more for you than the life you're currently living, but don't quite know how to get there, you are in the right place. Stick around to learn how to create a life that will knock your own socks off. Is it possible? It is, and I'm here to show you how. I'm your host, Andrea Giles. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Hi, everybody. Welcome. So glad that you're here. It's always fun to sit here in my office on my microphone and imagine all of you. I imagine talking with you, and it really does bring me joy to think about all of you listening and hopefully gaining a lot from this podcast. Before we dive into some things, I just want to say thank you 10,000 times to those of you who have taken the time to go into the podcast and leave a review. It's so fulfilling to hear from you. It brings me joy, but more importantly than that, it helps people find me. It ranks me in the algorithm so that people find me, that I'm first, that people find when they're searching for help after infidelity. And that's why I'm here, right? I'm here to help people. I'm going to read out one. Jenny in Michigan. She said, I'm so grateful for Andrea and her wisdom and guidance around infidelity and personal growth. As a betrayed wife, I've read so many books, podcasts, individual therapy, and marriage intensive retreats. None of these hold a candle to what I've gained from Andrea's podcast. She presents strategies for healing that are easy to understand, and her compassionate and optimistic attitude have helped me tackle the tough stuff. I'm so thankful to have found this valuable resource and praise Andrea for her genuine care and love that she invests in her work. Thank you so much, Jenny, for taking the time to do that. And any of you out there who have been listening, whether you're new, whether you've been around a while, I invite you to go into wherever you listen and leave a review. It would be much, much appreciated. So thank you so much. This episode is influenced by an experience that I just came out of. I just got back from a trip to Miami. I went to a business conference with other business owners. Some are brick and mortar, some are other coaching practices, all kinds of businesses. Some people having been in business for years, some are new, some are somewhere in the middle. And the reason why I picked this conference is because the team, it's one person and her team that were leading this conference have been like a magnet to me. I have had the opportunity of meeting this person in the past in person and then have followed her for many years. And something that I have watched her do, that I have seen her do, is lead herself in really, really challenging situations, like lead herself forward and be like, show up for her people, show up for all the business people that she is working with, show up for her kids, show up for her husband, show up for her family with some really difficult things that she has dealt with. One being the very, very quick loss of her mother. It was very, very fast that she lost her mom, things like that. And watching her dig deep and show up. And by her leadership, she has had a great influence on me and so many other people, including those that were in the room with me. And her influence has helped me to really step into a higher level of leadership within myself, really looking at how I lead and how the power that I have to influence other people by my own leadership. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, you all are here because you have experienced some kind of betrayal in your relationship. And many of you want to really determine how this thing goes. You want to know what the outcome is. You want to know do we get to keep the marriage? I'll do whatever if we can just stay married, or I'll do anything if I'm not rejected. I'll do anything if I know that at the end, this is going to be the result. And part of the game of life, and it's this hard part of the game is it's not until we really release the outcome and double down on who we want to be that the things start really moving, that things start really changing and shifting. And that's what we're going to talk about today. When we learn how to self-lead, how to drive ourselves forward, we have massive influence, far, far more than when we don't, than when we just are passive bystanders watching things happen going, I can't help it. I can't help it. They're going to do what they're going to do. And really muting and diminishing how much authority, how much power we have. Okay. First, let's talk about self-leadership. What is self-leadership? Self-leadership is the ability to take responsibility for your own thoughts, for your own emotions, and your own actions. Self-leadership deeply impacts others' perceptions, including your partners. They do. They deeply impact. Like this coach that I was telling you about, watching her lead herself forward from this very difficult thing. It wasn't her pretending. It was her being. It was her leading herself. It was her giving herself grace. It was her continuing to show up in a way that was respectful of her and honoring of her, that really inspired me to follow, that inspired me to pay her, to learn more from her, to be in her space, to fly to Miami, to learn from her for a few days and from her team. And this is how powerful our influence can be when we are acting out of our own self-leadership and not forcing an outcome, because that's the only way we'll be okay. In this next portion, I'm going to go through some things that create self-leadership, some of the things that have to be there in order to lead ourselves forward. The first one is the role or the significance of emotional regulation. All right, a leader manages their emotions instead of reacting impulsively. And they are able to slow down their initial response. They're able to take a breath. They're able to go, whoa, I am so triggered right now. This is so intense. And because I know that I am, there's no way I'm going to respond to anything right now. There's no way I'm going to react or respond until I feel more settled, because what I do or say might not be what I would do and say when I am more settled. Okay. There's this piece here that's really important. It is the link between emotional stability, feeling stable within yourself, being able to regulate your own emotions, and fostering trust. Now, this is a big deal. Okay. I'm going to go through two scenarios here. One is when my client who has been betrayed, they've been betrayed, and they are afraid to bring anything up with their spouse because they can predict that they're going to maybe fly off the handle and not be emotionally regulated. It might not be that they're throwing things or getting mad. It might be that they shut down completely. Okay. So this creates a lack of trust. Like, I can't talk about real things. I can't really say how I feel because I know that this person can't handle it, that they will not be regulated, that they will likely respond in this way. I can predict it, very predictable. And it creates a lack of trust because you can't get to the real stuff. You can't have the real discussions if you know that whenever you try, your partner or spouse falls apart, right? And here's the thing, it goes both ways. It goes both ways, okay? Initially, after infidelity, the emotions are really, really high. It's intense. It's really high. And over time, what needs to happen is to be able to lead yourself forward, is to be able to grow your own capacity to hold your intense emotions without reacting. And sometimes this looks like taking a pause. We're going to get a little bit more into this, but knowing when you are triggered and being able to ground yourself, knowing when you need to offer yourself compassion, when you need to sit with yourself, when you know that you're intensely seeking external support, like when you're really not in a healthy way, I should say. Okay. Knowing when, rather than seeking support, you're seeking validation. Knowing the difference between the two. Okay. Support being, I'm on to myself and I recognize that ... and I need some support with this. Validation meaning I just need someone to tell me that I'm okay, to really hate my spouse's guts and to be mad forever and to tell me that you probably won't ever really get over this, and just someone join with me in like, this person ruined my life. Can you just agree with me on that? Okay. That I do think at the beginning, it's really easy to go there. But what I'm talking about is stepping into this deeper sense of knowing, of trust, of self-leadership, knowing the difference between seeking validation and seeking support. Okay. Next, modeling integrity and accountability. Oh, this can feel like a big one. Like, well, shouldn't my partner be doing that? But here's the thing. This all that we're doing is for you. It's for you to become a version of yourself that you are so proud of, that you are just like, man, look how I took that thing that was so hard and spun it into gold. Look at me. Okay. And what this will do is it'll help you see the whole thing so much clearer when you know exactly what is yours and what is not yours. So living with integrity builds credibility and inspires reciprocation. Okay, we're talking about influence here. Sometimes I have people come to me that say that they had kind of a revenge affair. Maybe they didn't fully have an affair, but a revenge something. And they don't feel great about it. And they recognize that it wasn't their best move, but that breaks down their own integrity within themselves, where they don't love what they're seeing in themselves, right? And self-leadership means stepping into a version of you that you deeply respect. So living with integrity, it builds credibility with you, and it does inspire reciprocation. Like, you can count on me that I am going to tell you the truth. You can count on me that I will be where I say I'm going to be, that I'm not going to go hiding away, that I'm going to be here. And knowing that regardless of what they do, that's who you are choosing to be. And also knowing that we have our highest chance for impacting those around us by doing it anyway, leading ourselves forward anyway. This is who I am. This is who I want to be. Yeah, this is the outcome I want, but I'm doing this because I want to be this person, not because I'm trying to ensure some kind of outcome. Okay. Part of this is taking accountability for your role in the relationship dynamics without over apologizing or self-blame. What? Okay. This is taking an honest look at the dynamics in the relationship, the whole landscape of the relationship, going, okay, I can see how this behavior maybe wasn't great, that I avoided intimacy, that I avoided talking about things that were difficult, that I went and talked to my mom rather than talking to you, right? And we're not going into this shame spiral. Oh, I'm so terrible. And I know I totally led you here. And this goes for both people involved. I led you straight into the arms of this person. It goes for both people though. We're not doing that. Okay. Leadership, guess what? It doesn't take a lot of words. It's I recognize that this and this and this, and I'm going to do better. And this is how I'm going to do better. Okay. And we are modeling that this is how we get it done. We do not need to go into these long, I'm such a terrible person, right? That doesn't help anyone. That's still making it about you to go to that place. And we're not doing that anymore, right? We're making it about us, but in a way that is super loving and supportive of us, not punishing of us. All right. The next one is setting healthy boundaries. There's a big difference between controlling someone else and establishing boundaries, okay? Some examples of a boundary would be communicating what you will and won't accept in the relationship. Communicating what you will do if X, Y, and Z happens, okay? I'm going to give you a couple examples here of what this can look like, okay? So, for example, you could say, I need honesty from now on. I expect honesty from now on, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's something that is hard for me to hear. I cannot rebuild trust if I don't feel we're being transparent with each other, right? And why this works is because it's clearly stating the need, honesty, and connecting it to the shared goal of rebuilding trust. There's a why there. That's strong leadership. That's strong leadership is this is what I am going to stand for, and this is why. We are pulling people in. This is not me just being a jerk. This is not me just trying to control. This is me saying, I care about both of us and this shared goal that we have, and this is why I'm doing this. Here's another one. I need time alone after we have difficult conversations to process my feelings. It's not about shutting you out or punishing you, but about making sure I respond thoughtfully. Why it works. It affirms the purpose behind the request to self-regulate while assuring the partner that it's not about creating distance. Do you hear how powerful it is? Instead of just disappearing for 2 hours and letting the other person wonder and going, I wonder if they're mad at me. What's going on? What's happening? It's just being very clear. You're not trying to babysit their feelings, but you're showing generosity in expressing what the boundary is and why you're doing it to create some connection. I'll give one more example of this, okay? Here is an example about addressing conversations about the affair. I'm willing to talk about what happened. I want to talk about what happened, but I need us to choose a calm time and place for these discussions. I want to feel safe and not rushed, okay? So you're saying, I don't want to have you bring something up when you know that I have a place to leave in 5 minutes and then it's unresolved and then I sit on it all day, right? It's establishing some structure and respect around a sensitive topic, reducing the likelihood of escalation. It's setting you up for success. I'm not going to bring something up to you right when you're about to rush out the door for an important meeting that I know is an important meeting. I will not do that. Okay. And you're asking that the other person not do that either. That's why that works. It's a win-win for both involved. Okay. All right. Now, next, after boundaries, leading with vulnerability and courage. It takes great courage to be vulnerable, yet it is necessary for authentic connection. What this looks like is cutting through the surface layers, cutting through pleasantries, cutting through the things that we're used to doing, avoiding, trying to pretend like all is well when we know it's not, and really tapping into what needs to be discussed. Really diving into what needs to be discussed and sharing our feelings courageously and honestly. This space looks like knowing what your needs are, knowing what your fears are, and knowing what your hopes are, and hoping that you can inspire deeper conversations and mutual understanding by talking about it. It can sound like, I really want to rebuild, but I cannot do this alone. Here's what I need from you. That takes vulnerability and it takes immense courage. And that's partly what drives things forward. Okay. I want to make a point here that so much of the time where we get ourselves in trouble is that we're not deciding to show up in this way. We're kind of just going off the whim of whatever feeling we're feeling that day. It's not as intentional. It's not as powerful of knowing I am choosing to do this because this is how I'm going to get the best outcome. Because I know that me doing the work to be able to show in this way, there's no way I can lose. And this is, if I have influence here, this is it. If I have any influence here, it's not going to be sitting around being mad and pouting and getting angry and rageful. That's not going to do it. And really being onto yourself. Okay. Now, I want to talk about the ripple effect of self-leadership. It has a ripple effect. The commitment that you make to your own growth can influence not only the relationship that you're in, but future relationships, the overall dynamic of the relationship. If you have children, your children's relationships, they can watch you, they can watch this change and learn a better way. Okay. I want you to know that even if your partner chooses to stay where they are for whatever reason, leading yourself will always lead you to someplace better. It will always leave you a stronger individual. that's more resilient, more able to step out into the world, really knowing what you want and not dropping your standard for anything. A few little tips that I want to drop before we wrap it up. Few little practical tips for leading yourself. Number one, reflect on what is in your control and what's not. Every day, what do I have control over? What do I not have control over? Next, set one intention daily for how you want to show up. Who do I want to be today? Number three, check in with your values and your desired outcomes. Check in with those. Number four, get support. Okay, get support for deeper self-leadership. It can be books, it can be coaching, all kinds of things. I will say that self-leadership is one of the core milestones in my program. It is about leading ourselves forward to get the outcome that we want. Even if we don't know if it's going to be with that person, it's knowing that I will be okay because I am choosing to learn how to lead myself. So if you want a space where you can dive into all of this and have constant support and help and support the coaching along the way as you are navigating this and growing your capacity, get yourself in my program. Go apply in the show notes and get in the program. All right, to wrap it up, the foundation of any kind of influence that we have is in leading ourselves, choosing who we want to be. Your actions, your words, and the energy that you put out there based on what you cultivate within yourself create a space for change. I encourage you to take one step in leading yourself forward this week. You have it in you. All right? You have it in you. And again, I invite you to go check out my program. It's in the show notes. You can also go to my website, AndreaGiles.com, work with me, and there's information there about how you can work with me. And I look forward to being with you next time. Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to the Heal from Infidelity podcast. If you would like to be kept in the know about upcoming free classes, new podcast episodes, and other ways of working with me, go subscribe to my weekly email. You can subscribe at AndreaGiles.com/lies-about-infidelity/. Again, it's AndreaGiles.com/lies-about-infidelity/. I will see you next time.